But I've been in sports and trained in Matthew Lawrence with Wake Forest University. UW.
Well, thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. And I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I saw that I was the last thing in the program before John. I was expecting most of you would have left by now to go home. But I see there's a lot of people here. Some people recognize me because I'm in the Dr. Dre video. And that's also been a great privilege for me to sort of, to some extent, be woven into the fabric of the OS1 program. It's something that's very dear to my heart, and I love it. A lot of what we heard about over the last day and a half is people really talking about the management side of OS1 from a pretty high up level, making decisions about whether to convert to OS1 based on energy savings, sustainability, very much big picture items. And sort of like the generals and the field marshals are going to be talking to you about what their experience is. I'm a sergeant. I'm actually on the front line, on the third shift, working with the custodians. And John asked me to share some of my experiences of being on the duty end of this, working with the custodians, and why OS1 has made such a difference to me. That's just me. I was trying to go along with the Wake Forest old gold and black theme with me, by the way. Now, what are we dealing with in clean management? What are we dealing with here? One of the things that I realized very quickly in becoming a supervisor in custodial services was that my entire professional reputation was now in the hands of other people. Up until this point, I had been an independent researcher, I've been a scientist, I'd done my own business as a landscaper, an environmental consultant, and so I was completely responsible for the finished product, and I could provide the highest quality level of service and a top quality product. And I never have to worry about it being right because I do it. Now I find myself supervising 24 custodians spread out across 10 or 12 buildings, and it was a stark realization that all of a sudden I now am no longer in control of the work that's getting done. And not only that, but my workforce consists of people that distrust management. They may not know how to clean effectively. They may be unmotivated. Some of them know the system and how to use HR to avoid working. And I hope this doesn't sound overly cynical, but I bet you there are people out there who know what I'm talking about. And there are people who may actively seek their destruction. If you go into a custodial organization and actually expect people to provide top quality service and be accountable and be productive, there's people who really don't like that. And so I had people that would spend more time plotting what they were going to tell my boss about me than they spend working. So the fundamental problem is that there's no clearly defined expectation for either management or employee. Standards are subjective and variable, and there's an adversarial relationship between management and employee. These pictures are just something that I collected up on my travels as a custodial manager. This one shows a spill that is not just a spill, it's a hard, dry, set stain. And this, who's had this conversation? The customer calls up and says, hey Matthew, there's a spill on the steps, and it's sitting there for 2 weeks. And this is like new manager syndrome. So I go to the custodian in the building and say, steps are supposed to be marked on Thursday, right? I didn't make a mistake about that, did I? No, that's right. Okay, well, how many different these steps can you get marked? Oh, that's Fred's area. Oh. I go to my director. Fred retired 2 years ago. We don't have a Fred. Fred's not here anymore. So, he never assigned it to anybody. Okay, for 2 weeks. So, anybody recognize that conversation? Okay, so, old school motivation, what do you do about it? What's the old school? You threaten the employees. Okay? If you don't do this, you're going to get a write-up. Or worse. And then, when things don't pan out, you fire them. That means you just terminated somebody, you've got turnover. You've got to hire somebody, you've got to retrain them, you never know what you might get. Chances are, if you're really down to the nitty-gritty and you terminated somebody and it was a little bit iffy because you didn't find the ducks in a row, and they filed a grievance because they know the system, and you've got managers who figure, oh, it doesn't matter. We'll just deny it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I think to a step 4 grievance, which is in a courthouse in Raleigh with a judge and about 25 people from different organizations and attorneys and lawyers. Now, if that's not a drain on resources, I don't know what. Okay? I understand you're talking about how much money you can save on your toilet tissue. But what if you wind up having to take half of your organization to a courthouse in Raleigh to spend a day over there wrangling about whether or not this person was fired and just court? So this is some headaches. This picture right here, I just took this last week. This was in a restroom in a Dollar General store in Caldwell, North Carolina. I just stepped in there to take my son to the bathroom, and that's what I saw when I got in there. So, we see these pictures because, obviously we're on the high learning curve of OS1, and we look at this and laugh, but there's no joke out there everywhere, all over the place. So no matter what you do...
After you break it out, I thought you were going to say you took me to that one. That must have been Fred's mouth. I think we didn't censor Matt's
Obviously, no matter how hard you try, you're still stuck fighting an uphill battle against the enemy that you won't overcome. And again, I know this might sound overly cynical, but we've been there, right? You will also become disillusioned and unmotivated, staggered drop, and you're at a dead end. How do you market yourself to another employer if your legacy is unkempt buildings, employees who are unproductive, and a whole host of different personnel problems? That's what you're up against. Now these pictures, I was on the verge of career suicide. I had a custodian who was a very chronic absentee and had very low standards, and I had come to my boss and whined about it, and he said, okay, well, I'll do something about it. So I had, gone to this employee and had the equivalent conversation of, okay, so you think you know this HR thing pretty well, huh? Well, guess what? Here's your counseling letter. I just checked off another box. She didn't take it very well. So I went to the parking lot and noticed the car wasn't there, and I called the co-worker. Can you check and so He came back to me. She gathered up all the trash out of her offices and taken it into the restroom and just thrown it everywhere. And she knew that we could prove she did it, so that we couldn't do anything about it. Is that sick or what?
Diabolical.
Yeah, what do you do? There has to be a better way. Can you create an environment where employees get satisfaction from their quality work? Can you apply your effort to employee development rather than finger pointing and firefighting?